Okay, now we're live.
Okay, we're live. So everybody, it's Friday. You're back with Nick and Martin from OK Students, and we've got a new format this week. Martin,
Hey guys.
introduce the new format.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, I mean, as you can see, we are testing out different platforms, and we are actually recording this live this week on YouTube. And yeah, I mean, as you can see from the screen, there is a couple of different solutions. We will be presenting the questions we have laid out ourselves on the screen. So we're hoping it's a little bit easier for all of you to follow discussion that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think going live is the way forward, and hopefully we can start to expand this out to different platforms and reach more people.
Yeah, that's the mission, and that's the point of all of it, isn't it? Like, reach as many students and help as many students as we possibly can.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I love about this, is that we get to answer questions and talk about different topics. So this week, I think we're talking about what makes Britain or British education great.
Yeah.
So you've been through the education system now. You're just about to graduate. If people have been following us, they know that you are finishing off your finals now. So yeah, what do you like about British education? How have you found it?
Well, I mean, talking about my own story, yes, I am graduating this year. How I found UK is basically, I was actually looking for opportunities, and therefore I think that's one of the key points that British education has, is it gives you so much more opportunities. Especially, I'm coming from Estonia myself, like a tiny country with a population of 1.3 million. And I mean, even though Estonia's education system is relatively strong, there is, I mean, to be honest, there is 3-4 universities that everyone go to. And when I was looking what to do after graduating high school, I definitely wanted to explore more world and have more opportunities, because I mean, it sounded a bit boring to go to graduate with my mates and then probably go to the same university with like 1/3 of them.
So you were looking, to kind of break out and look for new opportunities on a kind of global scale. So why the UK?
Why the UK? Because, I mean, first of all, I think British education is known for its very strong and good education, as well as I think we're going to talk about it later, but the financial support in terms of the loan was very suitable for me, and it didn't require too many like upfront costs, which means it's affordable. And yeah, I kind of thought British culture to be somewhat similar to Estonian.
Yeah. Okay. So you felt the transition would be easier?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have met students from all over the world, considering the UK as an option. And really, most countries where you go, the consideration is usually between the US or the UK as the kind of the most prestigious choices. Canada and Australia and New Zealand have all kind of grown in their popularity, but the traditional view is that British education or US education is the best in the world. And
definitely. And one factor that I was considering myself as well is like employability after the university, because I mean, studying is great, but like the reason why we all do it is to get wiser, one, but also to get a good job afterwards. And therefore, I knew, having done my bachelor's in UK and going back to my home country, Estonia, I have a really strong advantage in front of the other Estonian kids.
Yeah, and English language, I'm assuming, was a big factor as well. I know the study of English language is very strong in Estonia.
Mhm.
But was that an appeal to really strengthen, from an academic point of view and from a business point of view, your English language?
Oh yeah, 100%. English, yeah, English language is it's everywhere, and in the business world, anywhere, like you cannot actually get by without English anymore, I think, and therefore, yeah, I mean, obviously living here for 3-4 years helps a lot with English, and yeah, that was one of the factors that I was thinking about, and funny enough, like that, whenever I talk with my like especially grandparents, I think it might be the era they came from and how important like speaking other languages was back then. But one of the key things that they always said was like, "Yeah, Martin, that's awesome. Then you're gonna speak English perfectly." So yeah,
Yeah, so
um,
they for them that was a huge value that they
that
saw.
was a huge value.
Yeah,
Yeah, um,
yeah, okay. And I think that that's reflected in things like, I think there's something like 55 world leaders graduated from the UK education system or have been. A huge percentage of Nobel Prize winners from British education. And yeah, reflecting this, the prestige, the level and the quality of the institutions here, but
mhm.
also studying and practicing in English language as a kind of world business language as well.
Definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, I mean, we kind of covered the point bullet point, which is why British education is popular globally.
Oh. Well, I
Uh,
saw a brilliant TED talk on this theme about the kind of British Empire, uh, uh, spreading all over the world in the Victorian times, and having to educate people in a standardized way to kind of meet the demands of a global business, almost, yeah, a global
mhm.
empire, and how successful that's been. So the fact that the model of British education and kind of classroom teaching, schoolhouse teaching, has been exported all over the world and remains today in very much the same format. The way we do examinations, the way we teach. And so, yeah, Britain being kind of the historical home of that and successfully exporting that to countries all over the world. So
Mhm.
I think that's the root of it, why it is so popular globally,
Yeah,
but because
and
people understand the system.
definitely, and yeah, and another thing you mentioning the kind of blueprint the educational system works. What I really like about British like university, I mean, I can talk about only the one I've been, which is Nottingham Trent. But what
Mhm.
I do like about British like kind of educational system maybe is that it doesn't focus on remembering things, but it focuses on the different skills that help you to find the information you need.
Absolutely.
Uh,
It's one of the biggest contrasts we see from high school to university, but also from an international curriculum or um, into British education, into university education. This idea that it's all about critical thinking, self-study and organization around topics and reading lists. But those skills are so valuable because they develop your own capacity for learning and other skills rather than just rehearsing and repeating facts and figures.
Definitely, and like in this topic, I think like the time and like the year we're living in plays a big part as well, because like 15 years ago it was important to like know the facts and remember things by heart. But I think now like the information is available for everyone, and information is commodity, meaning that it's not necessary to learn everything by heart anymore, but you
Yeah.
need to have the skills to find the information, especially like knowing that everyone's personal skill sets have to be so much more diverse now as well to survive in this world.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And
and
you probably, for this generation, the only day they will be without internet access is when they're in the exam hall taking their exams, which,
Yep.
as you say, doesn't make sense because that information is available, so widely available through the internet. So it's much more about the skills you learn to understand that information and interpret it and put it into practice in the workplace. So British education has evolved massively along these lines of the idea that the things that you are learning should be accredited, that they should be relevant to industry. So industry has an input on the curriculum that you're learning so that we're producing graduates for the right future jobs. That knowledge alone isn't sufficient. So many students get work experience or practical skills as part of their course. And so, obviously sciences and technical skills are obvious, but actually the introduction of practical skills into all subjects, including business, so that people are putting these things into practice and then expanding this opportunity and then giving people the opportunity to have work placements, extended work placements across a year, these things. So you get this kind of full circle of what you need for your future employability.
Yeah. And like going back to my own personal experience, like I studied business management and marketing, and the practical side has been huge. Like what I've enjoyed the most actually have been like the actual projects we've done, group works when I've had to actually work together in a team with people. When I was looking for a placement year, there was like plenty of like kind of mock exams when I actually not mock exams, mock interviews when I literally sat down with a person from a company that came to the university to do the mock exam, and he interviewed me like in a real life situation. I dressed up in a suit and like proper attire, and they're trying to replicate the real situations that you need.
Yeah. So this approach is very common among British universities and has really been embraced, particularly by the modern universities, who are really delivering lots of courses for specific career routes. So technical skills, practical facilities, industry standard facilities are all essential for those types of degrees. And that is a huge improvement in the education system, is that there has been massive investment into those facilities and student experience. So I think the next thing we're going to talk about is the kind of expense of the system.
Boom.
Yeah. And this is something that people always ask, is it expensive? Can they get full scholarships? These questions are very, very common.
Yeah, I mean, when people ask from me, what is it expensive to study in England? I always say it really depends, because going to the basics, tuition loan so far, and as we know by now, at least next year, it's provided as a loan, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're talking specifically in your case because you're a European citizen, an EU citizen, and you have access to funding for the tuition fees of your course. That's been a huge benefit and has allowed many talented European students to come and access British education in the same terms as home or UK students. And those terms are carrying on for this year. So that people enrolling this September can still get funding for all of their tuition fees for the duration of the course. So 3-4 years, or a master's at this stage, an additional year. So it's a massive opportunity to access, one of the world's best education systems on a funded basis for European students this year. And we would encourage people to take advantage of that while it exists, because Brexit might change that in the future. We don't know, but it looks like it will change it.
Of course, and like I personally, if there wasn't like a loan option, I wouldn't probably be here now, because I mean, obviously a lot of people, they don't have enough opportunities and funds to kind of fund the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, moving away from the tuition fee, my initial answer, it really depends. So if we're looking, I think the other costs in addition to the tuition fee. So what are they? Living,
Somewhere to live,
accommodation.
yeah.
So you need somewhere to live. Yeah, definitely. Accommodation. There's different options. There's halls when university kind of give you or rent you out their halls or their accommodation. You can go private. You can find like private studio apartments. You can find private actually halls exist as well, the ones that are not connected with the university. And then you can go fully private. You can find a landlord. You can find friends with whom you can rent out a house or an apartment. Or actually, the fourth and probably the cheapest option is just to rent out a room in someone's house, because that's what I figured out. That's quite a popular thing in the UK. I hadn't actually seen this that much in Estonia, maybe because of like cultural differences and so on. But in here, people rent out their empty bedrooms to students or people. So I think that's one of the cheapest options. But generally, first year students, they go to hall, I think, or private accommodation, because it may seem like safer and like easier option in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I think halls of residence are always very popular to be on the university campus with other students, and yeah, everybody is coming at the same time. So the new students tend to go into those types of accommodation to meet each other and kind of start together. And then after that, when they form friendship groups, yeah, they can go to private landlords and rent a house and share the cost of that house. And that's very popular in the UK, student accommodation, landlords dividing up traditional residential properties and renting each room out.
Yeah.
But it can be the most affordable way for students. So yeah, really, the expense of UK education from living costs can vary massively. You know, London can be very, very expensive. The south of England can be expensive. But there is a cultural tradition in the UK that many students go to the northern cities because the costs are lower, yet they still have very, very good universities. And that way they can, manage their costs whilst they're studying, so that they don't have to worry too much about earning money.
Definitely. And I mean, I think we can easily talk about numbers as well, because I think that's one of the valuable informations people want to hear is, for example, I can talk about my own experience. First year, I lived in a studio apartment because I was late with finding halls, a place in the university accommodation. So I rented out a student accommodation. It was 100 and I think £45 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Which is especially for Nottingham, is in the more expensive end.
Yeah.
Second year, I decided with like 4 of my friends, we rent out a house, which was like 5-bedroom house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the weekly cost for me came up to £79, which is very, very cheap, I think, for UK.
Kind of halving your costs there, yeah.
So it really depends, like how you live. You can save a lot of money by, just thinking twice before you do anything. So we've discussed tuition fees. We've discussed accommodation. What other costs are there? Obviously, food.
Yeah, food and social life is a big part. You know, it's often for many students, it's their new independence, and universities are all about social life as well as studying, and so those costs reflect how sociable you are, and how much you eat and drink, etc., etc. But they're certainly manageable. The culture in the UK is that many shops and restaurants will offer huge discounts to students because they tend to kind of shop and eat throughout the week. They're not like the professional community that only do it at the weekends, etc.
Yeah.
So they can, provide for students in the week. And lots of students see the UK as a base where they can actually explore Europe or the UK itself. So you could probably add in additional costs of traveling to see friends or to historic places, tourist places. And so those things, are all additional costs to your experience here. But, flights have been cheap in the past. Bus travel can be quite cheap here. So it is still affordable to explore places whilst you're studying in the UK.
Of course. I mean, once again, it really depends how you live. Let's say a good example of let's say you study in like northern part, Sheffield, Nottingham, Birmingham, and you want to go to London to sightsee London. There's different options. So first of all, you can easily book a train, which costs probably like 40-50 pounds round trip. Or you can jump on a megabus or National Express bus, which costs usually like 9-10 pounds one way.
Yeah.
So you can save by probably just spending some more time and research on things.
Oh, absolutely. There are budget options to everything and every choice. And also there's part-time work as well. There's plenty of hours to be able to find jobs in hospitality or retail that work around your timetable. So people can manage those costs as well with some part-time work. Regarding London, I mean, it's one of the world's capital cities. It's a very cool place. I would put it on a par with New York or Sydney. But the costs reflect that. If you want to live in central London, then it can be very, very expensive. You lived in London for a little while on placement opportunities, but Greater London, I'm assuming, the cost was high.
Greater London, I lived for, I was a bit cheeky over there because I lived at my friends and reduced the costs a lot within that by just paying them. But in theory, like in a Greater London, zone 1, zone 2, I would say renting a room, even just a room for a month, would cost about £700 to £900 a month.
Yeah.
The second phase of my placement year, or actually it was the second phase of the second phase of my placement year, I lived a little bit outside in North London, a nice town you could call Palmer's Green, which is literally like you jump on a train from Euston train station, 20 minutes. Basically, it feels like being on a tube. And my cost was £320 a month.
Right, yeah.
Crazy difference.
Crazy difference. And the commute, changed the prices significantly.
Literally like from, I would say, 800-900 down to 350, which is like a lot of money. And the train travel, as you guys know, London has those zones and fares. So I think Palmer's Green was zone 7, maybe. So basically, London has really nice like daily gaps for travel, so you can travel as much as you want, but you pay only up until one price. So I think my daily gap was £10.50, which may sound a lot, but in theory, it meant that I could, for £10, I could travel from Palmer's Green to London, inside London, go to different meetings, see places, and then travel back as well. And in reality, it actually comes out relatively affordable.
Yeah. And I think people, when they're making a considered choice of where to study and where to live, you have to imagine that once you get a circle of friends, really you could be anywhere. You kind of make the best of where you are. Yeah. And actually, a lot of people stay in certain areas of London or within any city and hang out with their friends rather than going into the centre all the time. So, you know, once you feel settled, you kind of stick to certain places where you go and hang out and with your friends and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, what I was about to say, that like quite often it's just like not the fear, but like the craziness of moving to a new city or country. It's something you don't even think about. It's just like it's really difficult to think like a little bit wider and think that like maybe the central opportunities are not the only ones, because there's so many other variables that you have to pay attention to and think about, and courses and like simple things like when I came here, like just managing your own money budget, new currency. So it's very, what I want to say here, it's like it's very, actually it's more difficult to talk about these things now, because within 4 years you get so used to the life in here.
Yeah.
But like coming as an international student, there is so many like worries and troubles that I wouldn't even think about now. Is like, which side do you have to look when you're crossing the street? Super silly and small thing, but like it was interesting in the beginning.
But when you came, you felt supported, you found friends, you kind of settled in quite quickly. The university was supporting you. These things you all overcame quite quickly.
Yes, of course. There is tons of opportunity, like support from the university itself. In the beginning, they literally do. They have it planned very well. So the whole Freshers Week, it helps you to socialize, and they are literally there for everything. Like you can ask anything, they help you out. And yeah, another thing that I would say is it's literally like, as it really depends how much you go out there yourself and open yourself up for the opportunities. Because finding friends is difficult when you don't want to find friends.
Of course.
So you just go out there, you go to those very random events that are organized just for people to meet up. It's awkward for everyone. It feels weird for everyone. No one knows anyone. But yeah, you maybe even out of those 10 people you talk to, you end up chatting more with one of them, and then you join this person's friends group later, and all of it is kind of connected.
Yeah, and it's the same for everybody. Everybody's leaving home to start a new course and a new life. So it does take time for that to build. You're going from a circle of friends you've probably known all of your school life into a world of complete strangers. But everybody feels that, and it does pass. The homesickness passes, and then you build strong friendship groups and start building a new independence in a new country.
Yeah, I mean, independency is, I like that word a lot, because all of those troubles, or like little troubles, big troubles you have to go through, they actually make you so much more independent. And yeah, it's interesting to reflect now, because all of the things that I do now, which seem normal to me, like managing my own accounts, bank, work, traveling, finding, like all of it, it kind of isn't, I think for a lot of people, it isn't so like normal. And I think the key factor of me becoming so independent has been moving to the UK, and just, pushing myself out of the comfort zone.
Yeah, pushing yourself. That's literally what you've done. Pushed yourself to learn these things, increase your independence, increase your confidence. And this is the thing that students do, is look at the course specifically. What do they want to study, and maybe where? But the kind of greater impact of just the study abroad experience, of managing your own lifestyle, your own budget, these things have a huge impact on your life. And often many students meet people or try new activities or skills that they've never tried before that actually turn into their career. There's many examples of great kind of business partnerships or entrepreneurial projects that have come out from just being within a university community, where it kind of harbors different people's skill sets, and together they can make something amazing.
Definitely.
So, yeah. And that's definitely part of the university culture and experience. Something that I like about UK education particularly is how multicultural it is. There's a lot of freedom in the UK, a freedom to be the person that you want to be, and to celebrate where you're from as well. And you kind of forget Brexit and these kind of anti-immigration things. The UK is very, very multicultural, and it is a huge positive for your education, but for the life here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like it doesn't even feel like being international. It kind of, in here, it's like super normal to be international. I mean, everyone, especially in the university like ecosystem, it's like, yeah.
I think most universities have upwards of 150 different nationalities studying there. And that can create nice communities of the same language speakers. But what I love about it is that you can literally make friends with people from all over the world, future business contacts from all over the world, and learn about their cultures and lifestyles, which then broadens your own mind and experience.
Yeah, it really does help broadening your kind of mindset and like understanding different people, because different cultures are different and they act different, and that's awesome. That's why it's so great. But yeah, I mean, going through those experiences and finding these things out yourself actually really help to grow yourself as a person as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality is that many graduates will go and work for multinational companies, and so having skills of being able to manage teams of different nationals, people from Africa and Asia and the Middle East, means that their employability increases, that they know they can interact and respect and work with people from different cultures, because they've done it in the classroom.
Yep. I can only agree.
Brilliant. So what else do you like about UK lifestyle?
Lifestyle, random things. Like I mean, I've mentioned opportunity like 15 times, but I cannot say that enough. Like, there is literally, work-wise, there is so much more opportunity. I mean, I have a comparison with Estonia, which unfortunately is just like a smaller country, but the more people, the more opportunities. And there is, if you want to work somewhere, there is so many companies you can apply to, which obviously in the smaller countries are more limited. So yeah, it's just like the opportunities it creates. I like the weather. I like that it's relatively same throughout all the year, which means that you can pretty much 80% of the year just hang out in jeans and a hoodie. You don't have to have like 4 different wardrobes that in Estonia,
No, I'm disagreeing now. I'm disagreeing. I mean, the British are obsessed with the weather because we don't know what it's going to be from one day to the next, but maybe even 1 hour to the next. You can probably see the light behind me changing because it's going outside and the window. It's going kind of like rain, sun, rain, sun.
Yeah, but trust me, your thinking will change if you have like minus 15 degrees and 2 meters of snow, like in Estonia.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll take drizzle over that.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it does change quite quickly. But at the same time, yeah, okay, I agree with this. Yeah, with a certain part of it. Yeah. What else?
Nightlife. Come on, everybody asks about nightlife. How have you found kind of the student experience in terms of partying and things like that?
Student experiences of partying, a lot. I mean, there is. So the keyword should be like there is everything. There is more. There is more nightclubs. Like basically, there is clubs, pubs, places you can hang out at every corner. It's so much cheaper, obviously, because supply and demand, and especially for the students, there's tons of student nights. It's easy to go out 3 times a week route, which is quite tempting. More people.
But for students that don't drink, what about the cultural things? What about the kind of the other things for students that don't want to party?
Students that don't want to party can travel. There is so many other like opportunities within the university ecosystem as well. Like there is like global lounge where you can meet other like international people. You can work. You can. There's tons of societies, sports. I mean, usually they come with parties and drinking, but I think like my uni, not NTU, has like 100 plus societies, starting from most basics like football, tennis, basketball, volleyball, to going more interesting like esports and like gaming societies. There is investment and trading societies that I've been part of in the past myself. I've done some futsal. And even like there is like political societies. I've heard about I don't know how is it called, but I know there is people who like to dress up as
cosplay.
And then medieval societies, and then they go down to the fields and then they fight each other, and like that's really cool because it means that everyone can find something for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just finding common ground and the things that interest you, and finding other people. And some universities have more than 30,000 students, so they're big communities to be able to find people of similar interests and mindset.
So there's a lot of everything.
A lot of everything. Basically, you can be who you want to be and find other people who might feel the same way.
And isn't it the goal?
That's a life goal.
Awesome. Come study in the UK.
Absolutely.
Should we wrap up?
I think we should probably just summarize a little bit of what we've said. So it can be expensive. It can be manageable, though. I would say it's less expensive than the US, but it is expensive, and full scholarships are rare. So you need to be aware of that. But the expense is used to create very quality student experience. Amazing campuses, amazing investment in accommodation, facilities. So British education is great because of the level of investment. It's highly valued. The teaching quality is very, very high. So if you're coming from high school, this idea of critical thinking, of very, very involved learning. So the fact you can talk to your tutors quite freely, ask them questions, and be quite critical about what the things you're learning. And then just global excellence, research excellence, reputation. I mean, even with COVID, we're looking at COVID now, Oxford University are racing to find a vaccine. Many universities are contributing their expertise in biomedical science, in engineering, to find solutions, to this global crisis. And I think that's the true nature of a university, is not just to teach, but to contribute to society as a whole. The research and development of different sectors, basically the freedom to learn and expand human knowledge. So that is definitely why British education is great.
I agree.
Perfect.
Awesome. I think it was a fifth 5th episode now. We are doing this, so awesome. For everyone listening, thank you if you made it so far. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels, which is on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Medium, and we'll be soon on TikTok as well. And yeah, just following us over there, you're supporting us, and as well you have a good access to the latest kind of news, and you know what's happening in the educational world.
Yeah, thank you for your support, and please use us if you have questions, if you need support with anything. That's the whole reason we do this, is to try and help you understand. So please get in touch with us, and yeah, we're happy to help.
Awesome. Yeah, see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.